Welcome to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everybody. This is Kathy Williams, and I'm so grateful you're here. I really love hearing from listeners and getting comments and questions from you because it expands the show. And of course, I wouldn't be here if you weren't. So I'm really thankful to my listeners. Today's topic is expanding your healing or coaching business with ease. And, you know, when our business is not expanding in the way we would like to, or we're doing all the quote right things, it can be challenging. You know, we start to judge ourselves. You know, maybe I'm not cut out for this. I'm doing what the business guru said to do, and it's still not working. So we're going to take a look at that. A look at a way to get different ways to get clients, addressing cancellations and when people don't show up, come back. Okay, and I was in a foundation class today. I facilitate classes all around the world. So London in June, and Vienna in July, and Colorado in July as well, and Hawaii in August. And so interested in coming any of those places, check out meetkathywilliams.com/upcoming. And in most of those places, not Vienna, but London, Colorado, and Hawaii, I'll be facilitating a class called The Foundation. And it's 4 days to unwind different limitations and then tools and questions to open doors to different possibilities and really create our life in the ways we'd like to. So currently on day 4 of a foundation class. And we were talking a little bit about like what happens when someone doesn't come back, right? You've done a session with them. It went really dynamically. Maybe they expressed that they really loved it, and then they don't come back. And it's like, well, what if they're not coming back because you actually created an amazing change for them and they don't feel the need to come back, right? They got what they were asking for. And that it's just a different perspective, because sometimes when they don't come back, we think, what did I do wrong? Stuff, and it's totally not true. So and you can start to take a look at it. You know, don't go into conclusion, I did something wrong, and just ask, like, is it that I did, you know, something that they didn't like, or did they get the effect they were looking for, or what is it that's going on here? Do they just require that I reach out and ask them how the session went? I did a free webinar recently, and I'll see if I can put it on my website, about business and expanding your healing business. And this is kind of the continuation, or what we didn't get to in this class, that class that I did. And one of the things that someone said was, oh, well, I usually follow up with my clients, but I follow up with a text, or I follow up with an email, and I just say, how are you? And we discussed the idea of following up by having a conversation. How was it for you? You know, how are you doing now? Would you like to come back in? Often, you know, I suggest that people come back in these increments. Some people are very intuitive and just know when to come back in, and other people love direction. Like if the chiropractor says, come, you know, I get the sense that you need to come in every week for 6 weeks, they'll do it, right? They're looking to that person as an expert. I'm not like that. I don't look for someone to tell me how often I should come in. However, at one point in my life, I was like that. So we get to look at the type of person who is our client and ask, like, would they actually like some guidance as to when to come in? Or was once enough for them? And never make ourselves wrong for what's occurring. Just look for more awareness by asking questions. So that's the first piece. Like, what if someone's not coming back? However, we skipped over a part, which might be, how do I get clients in the first place? What can I do to do that? Or and we'll definitely address during the show, I'm doing all the quote right things that the business guru said to do, and it's not working for me. So one of the things I expected when I first went into business almost 20 years ago now, actually at the end of this year it will be, was that clients would not be people I know already, when in fact it turned out that clients ended up usually being people who know me and trust me. And that might be through meeting me at an intro night event, a free event. It might be, I taught yoga at a center, so people would get to know me at a low price point, right? $15, $12, $10, something like that. And it developed the trust. And then to my surprise, one of the places I ended up getting a lot of clients, and this has happened several times in various communities, was I stood up and I was starting to teach yoga at the Unity Church. And I stood up at the end of their service and just talked a little bit about the effects that I had seen in different people's bodies and different people's stress levels from yoga. And just doing that 2-minute spiel got me private clients, because it was my enthusiasm. And one of the things that if you would start to talk about what you do with a sense of enthusiasm, not with a sense of need, right? Those two energies are very different. Like, I need you to become my client. You really should become my client. You should try yoga. That's very different from like, oh, wow, I love doing what I do. It's really life-changing. I've seen lots of people change. And maybe you haven't in your own practice because your practice is just being birthed. However, you've seen the benefits of whatever it is you're doing, yoga, Reiki, access bars, whatever it may be, theta healing, any of it, all of it, more things than that. You've seen other people across the world create changes. So you can use that, right? I've seen people change their lives through this work. This is really empowering, amazing stuff. And I'd love for you to try it. That kind of enthusiasm can really get people curious. Yet the thing is, when you're talking about it, people want to know what it's in for them, what's in it for them, whether you're talking about it or whether it's on your website. So let's just focus on what you might put on your website for a moment. Like, let's say you say, oh, I am a, what is it called? Bodytalk practitioner with 15 years experience. People don't really care so much about that. They'd prefer to hear, what's in it for them. Hey, do you have a lot of stress in your life and pain in your body? That's my specialty. And I've helped people with that for 15 years. So they can identify with, oh yeah, I am a person who has a lot of pain in my body. Okay, well, maybe this is something that can help me. So can you see how that's them-oriented versus you-oriented? Another might be, on the homepage of your website, I'm a psychologist who works with people's relationships. And instead you could phrase it, are you having a challenging relationship? Have you struggled and you're at wit's end? That's my specialty. And then you can talk about that, right? So again, it's turning it from a focus on you to a focus on them. So how would we do that in a conversation with someone? Well, You know how a lot of times people suggest you come up with an elevator speech or an elevator pitch? Right? That's a really short thing about what it is you do. The thing is, my coach, Michael Neal, I went through his Super Coach Academy. He's a Hay House author with a radio show on Hay House. Said, I've never met a client in an elevator, right? So what he's saying by that is like coming up with a pre-composed spiel for someone can make it really canned. Instead of showing up and getting a sense of who they are, what's present in their life, and what they'd like to change. And he phrased it like this. He used to have a lot of challenges selling. And he thought, okay, I just have to get over this necessary evil, right? This is a thing I have to do. It's always going to be uncomfortable. It's, trying to get people to buy is not a very kind thing to do. and so you can see, maybe you can identify with some of these things too. Like, I have to get people to buy my thing. I have to get people to become clients. And then his own coach asked him a question one day. He said, if you were selling to Oliver, how would you do it? And Oliver is his son. Okay, so if you were selling to someone you really love, whether that's a best friend, your child, someone else, if you were selling what you have to someone you love, how would you do that? Would you approach it differently? Because you care about this person. So if they had objections and you knew it was a good fit for them, how would you approach that? How would you enter the conversation? And oftentimes that almost makes it more of a, oh, let me get to know what's up in their world. It becomes less about getting them to do something and more about, is this a fit? Like, what's going on in their world? Is there a way I could contribute to them with what it is I offer? And if so, where do we go with this? What kind of questions could I ask? And then if they don't see the value and you really have the sense that they could benefit, then what? Do you leave it as a no for now? Because no is not really unequivocally no. No could be not this week. No could be, I'm not ready yet. I don't see the value yet. Let's have a conversation in 2 weeks. And then if it's not really a fit, right, you're selling to someone you love. If it's not really a fit, then would you really want that person to choose it? Or would you say, okay, there are 7 billion something people on the planet. Universe, show me who is a good fit for what I have here. One of the things that we do really often is we make no like this permanent thing and we make it significant. Oh no, they said no. And how many times have you not chosen something and then finally it was the time? I know I have clients I thought weren't interested in something, and it took them 3 years to finally choose it. I had offered, I had mentioned it, and took them 3 years and they finally chose it. One of my early coaches, when I was 22 or something like that, said, Kathy, selling is not telling. Selling is asking. It's about asking questions. It's about getting to know the person. Even the conversation you have could be an expansive conversation where they finally feel heard by someone. And that in and of itself is valuable. Okay? And if they start to trust you in that conversation because you care, right? You're not approaching it from, let me get this person to do something. You're actually coming from a place of caring, as though you're selling to someone you love. The quality of the conversation and the quality of the relationship is different, which generates trust. Really listening to someone isn't always done on this planet. Right? So if you're that one person who's really willing to be present and listen, you're going to make a mark and they'll remember you. So one of the biggest things you can do to build more business is to talk to people. Talk to people you know. Call them up on the phone. How are you doing? You don't have to make it about your next class or offering. You just talk to them. See what's up in their world. And then in 2 or 3 weeks, call them again and talk to them. And that time, maybe you'll drop in the class or the thing. And you can ask, do you know anyone who might be interested? So we're about to go to a break. And after the break, we'll talk more about missed appointments and things like that, and other ways to get clients and enjoy clients and expand your business. Thanks for being here with me, everybody. Welcome back to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everybody. This is Kathy Williams, and today's conversation is about expanding our healing businesses and coaching businesses and whatever it is that you have that you'd really like to both make an impact on people and have a business out of it. And one of the things that I've found it really helps me to ask is like, why am I doing this? What juices me about this? Is it to contribute to people? Is it because it's joyful for me? Is it because I've seen people's lives change? What is it about your service that you love? And how much can you expand that on the planet and in the world? And one of the questions that I was looking at this morning is asking, if you don't know what questions to ask, questions always open the door to a greater possibility. So one of the things you can ask is, what questions could I ask that would open the doors to possibilities I haven't even thought of? What questions could I be asking that would expand my business dynamically? And get a sense of what it's like when you call it the business versus my business. Okay. Is one more expansive for you? The business, my business. Huh? And get a sense that the business actually has an energy of its own. So it's not you. It's different from you. You can contribute to the business, yet it's got its own energy, which is almost freeing in a way, because you can have a conversation with the business. Like, what business, what would you like to become? What can I add to you? What energies would you like me to add? And sometimes that might be in the form of a person, like adding a connector, someone who will talk about your business all over the place. And those connectors don't have to be people who are paid. It could just be a client who loves your business and would like to share it with people. I did a class recently called 5 Days of Energetic Exercises for Receiving. And the recordings are still available on my website. And people shared the class to their Facebook page and things like that. And that's the idea of a connector. You may pay connectors. You may pay people who are going to go and get clients for you. You may not. They might be clients who are referring or people who are sharing your class or event on their Facebook page. And one of the things I asked some time ago and continue to ask in certain ways is, what would it take to have 100 connectors in the business? And again, you don't have to pay all of those, but inviting the universe to show you. Show me 100 connectors for my business, universe. And then, you may like to ask for referrals. Do you do that from current clients? Like, are you asking for referrals? And if not, what would it take? Some people create a little punch card. If you refer 5 people, you get a free session. Something like that. Another thing that I've kind of started to look at, like, if you'd like to expand your business, where have you learned about practitioners like you? Did you learn about them from a friend? Did you learn about them from a flyer you picked up or saw on a wall somewhere? Have you learned about them from a doctor or a chiropractor or someone else you trust? Where have you learned about practitioners, healing practitioners or coaches, and that sort of thing? Okay, so those might be avenues that you start to explore. Have you heard about them from visiting a health fair? Or on Maui, where I live, there are these email services. If you're interested in holistic health and events and meditation and that sort of thing, you can sign up for free to be on this list, and they'll email you eventually 3 or a few more every week. So it might be worth it to put an ad in something like that. And how do you know if it's worth it? Well, that's a great question. Just ask, if I choose to do this, will it make me money? And I'll give you a story because it's not linear. I asked about one of the email services, if I choose to put an ad for this particular class, will it make me money? And I got a yes. So I created and put in the ad, and no one attended the class from that ad. I knew everybody already who attended the class. I had talked to them, called them up and talked about it, or put it on Facebook and invited them, or sent a text inviting them to the class. I knew all the people who showed up for the class. No one came from the ad. About 2 months later, a woman called me and she said, I saw your ad through this email service and I knew you were someone I would like to work with. Tell me all about what you do. Tell me about the bars. Do you do private coaching? Do you what is it you do? Tell me about these classes also. And she ended up being a private coaching client and someone I've done energy work on. So if I had concluded, hey, wait, I put in this ad and no one came to the class and the ad actually didn't make me money, right? Concluding that would cut off possibilities. Instead, I looked at the ad. I said, well, you said you would make me money, so show me. And 2 months later, this woman shows up. Okay, so what if it doesn't have to be linear? Okay. Trying to make it linear actually cuts off the possibilities that the universe is willing to gift you with. Would you be willing to ask another question when you're starting to go into conclusion? I'll give you another example. Oftentimes, if we set up a class and maybe one person shows up, or I was facilitating someone who put together a class, and she said the first week, 3, the second week, nobody showed. And she had, when she was standing there with nobody there, started to go into conclusion. And then she realized, okay, I have this space right now to myself, and I learned a lot from the first class. What would this class that I'm doing really like to morph into? So she was asking questions. And she could have asked something like, okay, what would it take to generate the interest for this class? When we're disappointed, disappointed requires adequate planning, right? We've set up our expectations and then they're shot down. When we're willing to look at, wait, okay, this is what is, and there's gotta be another possibility here. What are the possibilities? What are the choices I could be making right now? What are the questions I could be asking that open the doors to greater possibilities? What could I change here to bring in more people right away? Who could I engage? Sometimes it's about engaging others. The other place, maybe you would you have learned about things, right? We talked about health fairs a little bit. We talked about getting referrals or making other practitioners aware of you, possibly by trading with them or gifting them a session or something like that. One thing you can do with health fairs is to collect emails. You can do a little raffle. Win a free session. Enter your card here. And then after the event, email them, tell them it was nice to meet them, and maybe even offer a little special. Like, what would it take to get these people in the door? What would it take to have them experience work from me? And then sometimes that involves, hey, just this week, if you book this week, I'm offering this kind of special, or sometimes a package. The other place that people are starting to find out about things is, have for a while, is the internet. So if you love to write, maybe you'd like to create a blog with all the meta tags and all the things that will help people find you. Maybe you like to create a YouTube channel and do videos if video is fun for you, or even a radio show. There are ways to do that that are not very expensive and get the word out about what you're doing. Maybe even just, I'm doing a weekly Facebook Live. And some of these will require that you get out of your comfort zone. Okay? And so people will say, well, that's not light for me, or I don't feel like it. And is it that it's not light for you, or is it that, it's a little uncomfortable? And then you can either start to clear or do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, like Mel Robbins suggests. Just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm doing this, and turn it on. And there can be layers of stuff around this. I don't feel like this because I don't know what to say, or who am I to talk about this, or I'm not an expert. All of that kind of stuff can come up. And there are different ways of clearing that. In fact, having another facilitator with you around that can be really useful. I have a business mastermind that I lead, and people are doing Facebook Lives now, and people are doing different things that were not in their comfort zone, and they're expanding, and their businesses are expanding too. So it's like, what could you choose that, if you chose it, would expand your business dynamically? And would you be willing to do it even if it's not comfortable? And not to beat yourself up about it. If it's like, no, I'm actually not willing to do it yet, that's okay. Is now the time. Okay, yeah, I'm going to jump even though it is uncomfortable. Because I know it's going to create a different possibility. Now, one of the other things that people I've seen is they pay a lot of money for a business guru, a branding coach, a business workshop, and they start to apply the things and either get overwhelmed or like, I'm doing all the steps, but nothing's really happening. And often that happens because on some level, you're not following your own knowing, your own intuition. Something feels off, right? You're doing the system, the formula, yet the formula isn't allowing you, or you're not choosing, to be you within that, to do with what's authentic. So and we're not asking, what parts of this would actually work for me? And then doing those. Because you may have had an awareness that, yeah, there's something about this business guru or branding coach or whatever it is that is pulling me. So I get the sense that there is something here for me. And there probably is when you have that sense. The thing is to kind of weed out what is not going to work for you and just pull out the gold nuggets that are the useful pieces, right? We think if we hire this person, we ought to follow everything they say. Is that really true, or is that a conclusion? Okay. If you're willing to ask, okay, what parts of this would my business like and then would grow my business dynamically? You can choose those parts and let go of the rest. And here's the thing. Make sure that it truly is what your business would like, and not just you're letting go of some pieces because those pieces are uncomfortable. So it's this, okay, the universe is presenting this, right? I've bought this program. Now, if you have the unequivocal expectation that this program is the solution, you've already decided you have a problem. Would you be willing to let go of any and all ideas that your business has a problem? Yeah. What if it's all possibility that's available? And, sometimes it is. You're like, yeah, Kathy, I do actually have a problem. I don't have enough money coming in. Okay, cool. What would it take to generate more money with total ease? Do you have hang-ups about talking to people and asking them for business? What can you add or what can you change that would create a greater possibility? Thanks for being here, everybody. Sexy Mom Abundant Life will be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everyone. This is Kathy Williams, and today we're talking about expanding your healing business, coaching, whatever it may be. If you'd like to make a difference in the world, then there are people looking for you. And that's one of the things that I've really found asking creates more of. Finding the people who are looking for you. And you can ask simple things like, okay, universe, who's looking for me? What would it take to find them? Where are they? What actions can I take to connect with them? All right? Because every time you ask a question like that, you're shining your awareness in that direction. Okay, universe, who's looking for me? I talked a little bit about elevator pitches earlier. And, the people who are looking for you could be anywhere. They could be at a Halloween party, one guy was for me. And this is the value of becoming present with someone and just allowing whatever comes out of your mouth to come out and trusting that. I was at this Halloween party and someone asked me, well, what is it you do? And my husband loves when people ask me this because he's just like, what's she going to say this time? And I said, I help people with sleep problems. And he said, well, count me in. That's me, right? And I never say that. That's the first time I ever told someone, like, oh, I help people with sleep problems right off the bat. And that was exactly what he needed to hear. If I had had an elevator pitch, I do blah, 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 that I give to every single person, I likely would have lost out on that client or missed him because it wasn't what connected with his need. And that's why people are coming to you to have enjoyment or to have a relief from something. You know, it's like, okay, yes, on the positive side, I'm looking for relaxation. I'm looking for expansion of my life. I'm looking for expansion of my business. Or I'd like to get over this problem, this challenge, this stress, whatever it is. So you can start to look at, when people come to you, what is it they come for? And then, you know, add that to your website. Add that to, you know, what you say. Well, most often people come to me because I help them gain a sense of clarity. And for a long, I mean, that could be something, when people come to me, a lot of times they're looking for clarity. So if that's true of you, that might be something you say. Okay? One of the things that we do is we give talking to somebody, or we give getting clients, or we give a website, or we give business in general significance. Like, business is for a certain type of person, and I'm that kind of person, so that makes me, you know, get a little bit tense when I'm talking about it. Well, what if you didn't actually give business that significance? What if business could be fun? What if you didn't give getting clients a lot of significance? What if you said, okay, how many people can I talk to? What would it take to talk to people who are going to catapult my business forward with total ease? And someone you have a conversation with might not become a client, but they might have an idea for you, or they might have a friend who becomes a client for you. So it's about the sense of possibility and presence you be. And if you enjoy what it is you do when you're in the room with someone, then for a moment right now, get a sense of that enjoyment. So you're getting a sense of the enjoyment you have when you're doing the work you love. What if you could bring that energy to the process of getting clients, whatever that process is? So talking with them, emailing them, all of that yummy energy, or that enjoyable energy that you be when you're doing the work you love, bring it into the work that precedes the work you love. And all the projections and expectations and ideas that you have about selling, you know, that it's sleazy, or you don't want to be sleazy, or you don't want to push something on someone, or you have to convince them to get this thing that they don't really want to get, so that you can have money. Whatever it is, whatever you've decided about selling, would you be willing to collapse all of that back to energy, or destroy and uncreate all of those ideas? They're just ideas. What if you didn't make them true for you? Okay? And you could be that presence and that energy, that yummy energy that invites people to a different possibility that you are being when you're in a session. And the other thing is, don't judge you, right? When someone doesn't say yes, when someone doesn't show up again, when you do this health fair and no one's calling you or people aren't calling you back, what if you didn't judge you? What if you could instead ask, okay, what's required now? What's required now? And then follow that. Oh, what's required is calling them. What's required is looking at the gift of what just occurred. What's required is calling someone else. What's required is going for a walk, right? So if you're willing to just, actually, let's do this. It's kind of a fun exercise to do. We're going to do an exercise of tapping into the energy of your business. So there are several ways of doing this. I'm going to lead you through one, and I have a product on my website called 5 Days of Energetic Exercises for Creation, business classes, all of that. So there are different ways of doing this, and we explore that in that 5 days. However, I'll just have you do it in this one way for now and see if this works, see how it works for you. Okay, so closing your eyes if possible. Tap into the energy of the business you play with. If it's more than one, choose one and get a sense of what that's like. For me, sometimes it's kind of amoeba-like, like in front of me, and it's an energy. If it has a color, just get a sense of that color. And let's ask, what can you contribute to the business today? And see what awareness you have. What kind of energies would the business like to be added to it? These could be the energies of relaxation, or an energy of I need to connect with people, or an energy of play, whatever it is. Just ask the business what energies it would do it. And are there other people to add to it? If so, let's just pull them in by asking. Pull in the people. And then let's invite the business to pull in all of the clients that it would like to play with. If you have classes going on, each of the classes is its own energy. We're not going to get too much into that now. You can get a sense of those different energies playing within the business and pulling people into those classes. And then from the business, trickling energy out, little streams of energy to all those people and through all those people and through all the ways people can find you. Little streams of energy through computers, right? The internet, through people talking about your class, through flyers, through whatever it may be, so they can find you. And invite the universe to contribute to pulling all of the people who are looking for your business, who don't even know it, pulling their energy toward the business now, and trickling little streams out to all the people, all the events, all the experiences that will contribute to the business as well. And start to ask, is there anything else that the business would like you to be aware of now? And if so, awesome. And if not, that's great too. And you could just thank the business and know you can have a conversation with it at any time. You can do this with classes. Like, what would the class like to be named? Where would it like to be? When would it like to be? So it becomes, the whole thing becomes a creative process instead of a forced process where you have to decide everything. It becomes more intuitive. So if you are interested in more exercises like this, I also have one where you have your business show up more like a person that you can have a conversation with. It's at meetkathywilliams.com/pulls, PULLS. Now that's an exercise I do frequently so that I can relax my own logical mind and just tap into what would create more for the business today. What's required? What's going to allow my life and business to expand beyond my wildest imaginings? And certain things pop, and then it's so funny because then, there's an idea I have, like a class, Clearing Your Points of View About Aging, that's coming up. And a day or two after I had that idea, someone asked me to do a class on that. So it's like people are already looking for certain things. What if you could harmonize with that? Right? Not that you're bending and stapling yourself to serve whatever they're asking for, but that you're choosing something that lights you up that's also a contribution to other people's worlds. Right? Sometimes when our business is not expanding, it's because we're not lit up by it anymore. I used to teach a lot of yoga for back pain classes, and for a while that was super fun until it became this, oh, we're doing this again. No longer juiced by it. And that was the point at which I took a break, because it's like, it's not really contributing to people as much as it could if I'm not enthusiastic about it. But the other thing is, you could just change the energy into, well, what would make it more fun for me? Would it be we put on some music? Would it be we're in a different space? Would it be I add more one-on-one sessions to the series so I get to know people at a deeper level? What is it that would really round out my experience and make it a greater experience for them as well? So what else can I add is an amazing question to ask. Speaking of, if you'd like to add more money to your life, I'm doing a class called 5 Days of Energetic Exercises for More Money, something like that. I forgot the exact name. And you can find all upcoming classes at meetkathywilliams.com/upcoming. So both the online classes like this one, it's 5 different half-hour sessions. Most of them are in person, although they're all recorded. And then there is one that's pre-recorded as exercises for you to simply enjoy. And that one is coming up next week. So at the end of, it's in the beginning of June. And then if you'd like to join me somewhere around the world, London is coming up June 14th, Access Bars and the Foundation. Last year's class was super fun. We had people from all over the world, from Taiwan and Germany and Scotland and Dubai and Saudi Arabia and England, of course, and Hungary. It was just so juicy. And we've got a great location for the June class. So you're welcome to join me for 5 days in person in London and also in Colorado. In Colorado is in July, and then Hawaii. My very last foundation class and bars on Maui is August 20th. And just so yummy. As I mentioned earlier, I'm in the foundation right now, and it just creates a space of peace. You're dropping all these definitions and limitations that you've lived by to create a greater reality. And that creates such a relief from tension. and more ease and possibility, which is why I love to facilitate it. So drop me a line at meetkathywilliams.com. There you can also get a free money rain exercise and an energy pull for free. And I love to hear from you. And I'm just so grateful you made it to the end with me. So if you can't wait till next Thursday, you can always subscribe on iTunes or YouTube. And next week's topic is help, I don't finish things. So I hope you'll join me then. Thanks a lot, everybody. Aloha.